Alright, what's up everybody? So this is going to be my little take on things and on the Chris Benoit situation. And I was in Fayetteville, Georgia, the same county that this happened in. Um, or, no, city, yeah, whatever. I lived in so many places in Georgia, I forget. Um, but it was a dark, cloudy, overcast day. And I believe it's around the same time that we beat the Cavs in '07. For the championship. I'm almost positive. Um, but I was doing this at the behest of a fellow supporter of the channel owner. All the credit to the channel owner that sacrificed for making the video. I hope they're okay with me using the video, but this is the most simplified way I could think to do it. A second here. Oh, this person right here, yeah. Doing this for Ty Marley. They wanted to get my opinion on it right here. So I guess you could technically say this is the first video that I've done that somebody was uh, requesting I do. Even though it's in another person's channel, it's kind of came about randomly, but make sure you follow the sacrifice. They helped them get to 40,000. Make sure you like all their videos because they're talking about some real issues and be a great representation of to help people get saved and hopefully wake up. Ah, baby girl. Ah, baby girl. Well, I will say, just since Harley's right here, the same reverence and love and everything I have for Harley Quinn and Joker um, is the same characteristics and consistency that I see of Chris's character. And just like you see with Diddy, are you gonna believe what someone like Diddy says, despite what his characteristics are and the fruits he bears? Same thing with Vince McMahon, um, and not just Chris Benoit, but all the other wrestlers. Y'all gonna listen to all the other wrestlers and at talent and stuff, the divas, the referees, all that, or Vince McMahon. So, and also, let me check something right quick. Pretty certain Chris Benoit was Christian. Doesn't say, does it? Well, Okay, well, that's not very clear. Okay. Well, that's why I wanted to check that first because I wasn't sure if there was any information on that. Okay. So, like, I have bipolar 1, so if something were to happen, like, oh, he's bipolar. And it's that simple. Or they're an alcoholic, or they use drugs, you know. But if you look at something the first time and it don't look right, something probably ain't right. And the devil is the father of lies, author of confusion. The first thing I'll say is that um, Chris had been telling people the whole time, over and over, that he was being followed, or thought he was being followed. Thought he was being followed, then he realized he was being followed. Um, and then you'll hear it throughout the video on the recordings. He wasn't like no Scott Hall type of dude where to get, no offense to Scott, but it's the first example I thought of, to get totally loaded and blacked out drunk or whatever. So why is he sounding like he just got out of anesthesia or something? And then also you can hear other people in the background. Now this is, I mean, clearly it's as this as they're taking out his family out. This is all as it's happening. And throughout every one of these videos that the sacrifice has, every single one of these people, almost, if not all of them, where it's supposed to be like people are so devastated, they're they either have a really weird way of showing emotions and grieving, which is possible, or it's more likely that they have zero love for the person at all. Because I can barely talk about my mom or anything like that without breaking down at some point. At some point, on some level, every single time. That's just a fact. And these people don't do that. So when you start seeing that they don't do that, like, oh yeah, we got to move on and be strong, and things happen. Like, what? What are you talking about? This is my baby girl right here. This is baby girl, baby girl. I can't live without my baby girl. Because if something happened to baby girl, all I'll be talking about is baby girl. Come on, man. Yeah, that's all I'll be talking about is baby girl. So what happened to my girl? Come on now, y'all. That man loved his wife. He loved his kid. And uh, for whatever reason, Vince sacrificed him, just like everybody else. These things are painfully obvious if you got eyes to see. If every single time something like this happens, you just immediately like, oh yeah, that's what the TV said. The TV's right. Okay. All right. So then why do you think when the Antichrist does come and says that he's God, lowercase g, OD, why do you think that you're just going to be accepting that too because you're accepting things like this and you don't even know it? Devil's grooming y'all to worship the beast, man. Y'all need to wake up while you still got an opportunity. Now, I don't know what Chris did behind the scenes or Nancy did behind the scenes to get where they're at. I don't know what none of these people are doing behind the scenes to win titles and doing this and that. I have no idea. All I know is that they killed this man and his family. And the fact that they killed the kid too. Adults are adults. That sucks. Always. It sucks when everybody dies. Always. But they killed the kid. And that's like not necessary. If at the very bare minimum, the kid has got nothing to do with nothing to do with nothing. But see, the devil don't play fair. He and then also you think about the spiritual part of this, the spiritual warfare, the amount of people that pretty much the whole world got sucked into this like really demonic black hole of like just like despair for and there's a lot of people still in it, but for a long time it was like that. And that's a scary amount of power to wield for something that somebody didn't do. Now this is just my opinion, but I use common sense. I don't listen to what nobody else tells me. This wasn't like OJ Simpson where it was like he's got documented things of events consistently. It's not even remotely the same neighborhood of what's going on. And is it possible that he had head damage and snapped and this and that? Totally possible. But to my knowledge, I don't believe he ever had a single incident of uh, like a single incident of any abuse or anything like ever, to my knowledge. I'm pretty certain about that um, type of a thing. So uh, that's a good indicator right there too. That usually, if something like this were to happen, there usually would be a very particular thing, a triggering event that leads up to it, but not like, oh, my kid's sick, I'm sick, they're sick, my wrestler brain damage stuff is hurting, and blah blah blah. Like it's just not. It doesn't. The correlation isn't there. It doesn't make sense. And you got to have enough sense for things to add up, and things don't add up. They actually fall apart. So then also another thing, Chris always was an extremely hard worker, which I can relate to, because he wanted to take care of his family. Same thing with me. I'm the same way. So me and Chris have very strong similarities in character traits, and um, yeah, I don't want to keep talking too much. Let's get into the video here. I'll come back off and on as we go through the video here. Oh, whoops. Oh, hold on, guys, hold on.
She is dead 12 hours before law enforcement finds burning question for me.
And think about it, Sean. This is Wikipedia, and where that person sent it from is Stamford, Connecticut, which is the headquarters of WWE. Third thing, why is it that WWE, within 2 seconds of the finding of these three bodies, said, it's not us, it's not us? You know, it's almost as though they protested too much.
Ken, you want to weigh in? Go ahead.
Yeah, the thanks about the Wikipedia thing. The person who did that came forward on it.
After WrestleMania, the belt is still here. I knew it, but did you knew it before?
Yes, I believed in myself. I'm very proud of having the title and what I accomplished at WrestleMania. Went into the ring against a very formidable opponent in MVP. The thing MVP didn't understand was he was stepping into the ring with someone with more than 20 years experience. I've got the passion, I've got the heart, I've got the desire. I'll do anything to keep this belt around my waist.
I also got to tell you that MVP somehow surprised me, because to have the guts to be inside WrestleMania for the first time in your life against a monument like Chris Benoit for the belt means, okay, maybe you're not someone now, but maybe in some time you can become someone.
Yes, definitely. I think MVP is a bright prospect. I think he's got a great future in this industry, and I was proud of how he kept up with me at WrestleMania. But I knew once it went to the mat, he wasn't going to beat Chris Benoit.
Happy, very focused, very at peace with himself right now.
How hard is it, though, to come back to the same world that pushed you into the depths of darkness to start with?
Yeah, the world doesn't push you into the depths of darkness. You do, and it drives me nuts, because the week before WrestleMania, there's a big article in USA Today talking about Dale Wilkes, the Patriot. Raven was in there. Someone else was in there talking about Louis Piccoli and all the pills. Ravens, 200 pills a day habit, and 200 pills a day. I had neck surgery, all right? I'm laying in the hospital the day after, and I'm taking no more than 4 pain pills a day. 200 pills a day, no, it's a little extreme, okay? If they blame it on the industry, no, it's your choice, all right? I've been doing this 18 years. I do it now. I do it every week. I think I got a pretty good grasp, and I think I'm not an outsider looking in. So that's all BS. Complete BS. It's your choice. It's your decision. And that, the media love to take something like that and run with it. And it's not the world of wrestling drove them to alcohol, or the world of wrestling drove them to drugs. No, you do that to yourself. All right? And anyone that says, please come and debate me. Let's debate it right now. Go fact for fact. That's your choice.
So it was Guerrero's choice.
Yes, definitely.
But you had sympathy for him.
Yeah,
right? You understood you understood why he popped those pills.
I understood why. I didn't understand. I couldn't understand how they could control you so much, and the way that they did him. But I understood why. Yeah, we're in pain.
He's back and healthy now, right?
Yeah, completely. Yeah, as I said, he's the most influential person that I've ever met in my life, like inspiring.
It was bad. I'm dead serious. It was so bad. It was beyond belief. Beyond belief. They had everything at one time.
They had money. That's what they had.
They had money, they had TV, they had talent, they had all the talent in the world. It's like fresh talent too. It's like, they brought a bunch of guys from Japan, they brought guys from Mexico, different styles. They just had such a strong product, and they blew it. It's like, because of the management. To me, it was a fluky thing. It was a lucky thing. And, it just shows that how consistent the WWF is. It's like they're still on top.
Regardless of all its mistakes, maybe with Bret Hart and all the controversies around it.
Yeah, well, everyone goes through controversy. Every company has adversity, and it's not what happens to you. It's what you do with what happens to you that defines your character. And the WWF is still on top. about 6.5. I was the last pay-per-view of June when I got hurt. I was in the ring with Austin and Chris Jericho, and I landed wrong. I don't even remember how I landed, but I knew something went drastically wrong because I lost a lot of strength in my right arm. And when I went to see the doctor that week, he told me I'd shattered a disc, so I needed to get surgery done immediately. So it kind of all happened real quick. It's like in shock until after the surgery. So.
But you guys, Steve, you're really great. But you guys are trained in such a way where there's the art of falling and there's the art of taking hits like that.
Yeah, most definitely. I've just spent a lot of time. I trained for 6 months with Stu Hart in the dungeon. Then I went over to Japan and trained for a whole year there. So I mean, this is really the second injury I've had in my career. The next surgery I had torn ligament in my elbow.
Here, he's just a regular guy. Meet the many faces of Chris Benoit.
What's the difference between that guy and this guy?
That guy on TV gets slapped around a few times and the rage comes out.
Company's United States champion, and he's also been the world heavyweight champion. That's the #1 guy in the biz.
What's it like to wear one of these bad boys?
It's a privilege and an honor, considering that this is something I've always wanted to do my whole life.
It all began when Chris was a scrawny little teenager in Alberta, Canada. He trained with pro wrestling's legendary Hart family to get his foot in the door.
I just loved it so much. I lived wrestling.
Neck injury, which can happen when you do this for a living.
It was the first time in my career that I'd actually wondered whether I'd be able to ever wrestle again.
Chris underwent surgery here in San Antonio and was able to make a comeback. Now fans cheer him all over the world, especially when he performs his signature move, the crippler crossface.
From a standing position, I'll get the guy in an arm bar,
Right.
which will drive him flat to the mat.
Yeah.
Hook it with my leg,
Right.
wrap my arms around his face and pull back.
Yeah, you don't want to get on his bad side.
It's just like a fever. It's hard to get away from.
I asked for a little of WCW's valuable time. I never asked for anything, but I called in my marker on this one. You see, something's either happened or it's about to happen of an unbelievable magnitude. A couple of years ago, I was in Japan wrestling and I saw a kid named Chris Benoit. And it just flew off the page. That's a horseman. I went to WCW officials. I played a very big part in getting Chris Benoit here. And he's exceeded all of our expectations. And I told him the first rule is, Chris, anything you want in this sport, the road doesn't rise up to meet any man. You gotta reach out there and take it. But you see, there's an unwritten rule also. A cardinal rule. It doesn't just apply to wrestling or sports. It applies to every aspect of a man's life. Number 1, you take care of your family. Rule number 2, you don't mess around in another man's family. You see, I know now that you're in Germany. We can't find a woman. We deduce whatever we will. The fact of the matter is, Chris, there's going to come a time, and it's not that far down the road. You see, I've got more age in years. I've got more age in the business and this great sport. And age denotes wisdom. There's going to come a time in my life and in your life when there's no more cameras, no more TV lights, no more people running up to you at the mall saying, "Can I have your autograph?" And whether you walk away from this great sport, or whether you limp away, or whether they roll you away in a wheelchair, the one constant will always be in your life is your family. They're there. They pat you up when you're hurt. They prop you up. They build your ego up, and they send you back out that door. Well, Chris, I'm just going to ask you one time. Is this obsession with destroying every aspect of Kevin Sullivan's life worth losing your soul? Well, is it? down, and you know you can't prove me wrong. You think I'm afraid of you, little man? I can't count the number of superstars who have tested themselves against the dead man and come up short. If you insist on making this mistake, then your grieving family will have no one to blame but you when the inevitable occurs. If you insist on making this mistake, then your grieving family will have no one to blame but you when the inevitable occurs. Heart one day beats its final beat. His lungs breathe their final breath. And what that man did in his life makes the blood pulse through the body of others. It makes them bleed deeper in something that larger than life. Then his essence, his spirit, will be immortalized by the storytellers, by the loyalty, by the memory of those who honor him and make the running the man did live forever. I am Ultimate Warrior. You are the Ultimate Warrior fans. And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever.
My wife and my children will not be watching Raw. Because I am going to do something that is unthinkable. I'm going to leave you with my anger. Sleep well. My wife and my children will not be watching Raw. Because I am going to do something that is unthinkable. I'm going to leave you with my anger. Sleep well.
Just spoke to one of the other officers there. My name is Dennis Fagan. I'm a retired detective in New York City. I run the security for World Wrestling, and one of our wrestlers that lives down there is missing. And he told me to say we need a welfare check done.
Okay, what's the address?
130 Green Meadow Lane. The zip code is 30215.
All right, Dennis, what's your last name?
Fagan, Fagan.
And what's his name?
Chris Benoit. It's spelled Benoit.
Okay, and he's a wrestler?
Yes, he's what happened?
Yeah, her tail whacked my left side of my head, and that's excruciating. Oh God, my baby. I know you little daddy. I know you little daddy. You baby girl. You baby girl. You hope daddy make a good video, don't you? Yeah, see, we make good stuff. We make good stuff. We got baby girls. We got baby boys. We got Harley Quinn. And we got Joker. And Daddy. Yeah, we're pretty girl. That's real pretty girl. But yeah, I mean, Kevin Sullivan being married to Nancy Sullivan, woman, and then having that that setup where they were role playing like fake dating, and then it actually turned into real dating, and then she left him and married Chris. And then also a woman in Kevin Sullivan's whole Harley, baby. I know you love Daddy. I know. I'm petting her. petting her real good. I pet her real good. Her baby girl. They're it's kind of like yeah, kind of like that. Which this is just wrestling. Which you can say to an extent. But if you were to look into his background, as far as the occult goes and stuff, you can kind of surmise your own information. But anyway.
He's a very religious gentleman, and yesterday he was supposed to show up at a pay-per-view and never got on the plane, never showed up. They tried to reach his wife, Nancy. She doesn't answer. They tried to call his house. It's out of character for him. So at 3 o'clock this morning, there was a message left for one of the other wrestlers, and basically it says, the dogs are in the backyard, the back door is open, goodbye. And that was it.
The dogs are in the backyard, the back door is open, goodbye. And that was it.
And the back door's open. He didn't say anything else, and that was it. That message was left at 3 o'clock this morning for another wrestler.
Okay, that's 130 Green Meadow Lane.
Yes.
Okay, and what's the phone number for you?
Hi, you reached Dennis Fagan. Leave your name and number, and I will get right back to you. Thank you.
When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press pound for more options.
Mr. Fagan, this is the Fayette County Sheriff's Dispatch. I do have a couple of deputies out at Mr. Benoit's residence, but the gate is locked, and there are two pretty aggressive canines, or aggressive German Shepherds out there that our deputies are unable to get in. If you happen to have a gate code or anything for him, if you could give me a call back at 770-461-4357. 770-461-4357. Thank you very much. Mr. Fagan.
Yes.
Hey, this is with Sheriff's Department Dispatch.
Yes, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good. Did you get my
770 and 404 area codes for Georgia. So you can see. June 22 and June. NBA Finals, the playoffs is April, May, beginning of June is game 1. 99, 03, 05, 07, and 14 is our championships. June 7 to 14. Yeah. Yeah, me, Chris, and Lance, my two best friends from school. Or when I was a kid, grew up together since middle school. We were at Lance's house in Fayetteville, Georgia. Yeah, so this is like 2 weeks later, roughly. Hmm. I knew it was close. Yeah, I just couldn't remember. I haven't thought about that like since I just did this video. I haven't thought about that in that long. I'm 35, so 35 minus 07, whatever that is. That's how long ago this was for me. And also, I'm a diehard wrestling fan, and I've been following Chris his whole entire career too. So, as any diehard wrestling fan can tell you, that we'll notice if a wrestler's acting out of character, like for real, not being like not promos or whatever. But just to say that when we do get to know these people like family, because they are family. If you're not a real wrestling fan, you'll never understand that. People think it's funny, but there's a reason why wrestling fans are some of the most devoted fans out there, if not the most devoted. I'd say wrestling fans are the most devoted fans, even over like Star Wars fans, to be honest with you. Being totally honest. Because you can't go and meet Darth Vader, like the real Darth Vader, James Earl Jones, but you can go and meet the real Roman Reigns, right? So it's completely different context.
No, I just pulled the number back.
Okay, very good. I do have a couple of deputies out at Mr. Benoit's house.
Okay.
But the gate is locked, and they're unable to get inside.
The gate is locked.
Yeah, you wouldn't happen to have a code for that, would you?
No, I don't. And the message that we got, like I said, left a message at 3 o'clock in the morning for another wrestler.
Right.
The gate's open, the dogs are in the backyard by the pool, and the back door's open. That was it.
Right. Yeah, because apparently
That's what I'm worried about, because Chris is very, he's a point against Chris, he's very religious.
Right.
It's unlike him. He didn't show up for a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
He never made it to the plane. They can't reach his wife. Nobody's answering the home phone. Nobody's answering the cell phone.
Yeah, and I think as far as, I'm not sure how far away from the road the house is, so I'm not sure if they're able to tell if anybody's there. But like I said, the gate, it's got a call box. Apparently nobody's answering that. And then the dogs are actually out in the front, so they're
all right. Okay.
Yeah, and they're pretty, according to my deputies, they're pretty aggressive as well. So but they're not friendly-ish, okay. So yeah, you don't happen to know anybody that would know that gate code offhand, would it?
World in shock today. Former champion Chris Benoit found dead in his Atlanta home along with his wife and young son. Police now treating the discovery as a double murder-suicide. World Wrestling Entertainment says Benoit failed to show for 2 live events over the weekend, and apparently at least one suspicious text message sent to friends prompted wrestling officials to send police to his house. On the phone now, staff writer for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, Saeed Ahmed. And Saeed, what do you know about this suspicious text message?
Well, from inside his home, with the dead bodies of his wife and later his son nearby, WWE star Chris Benoit communicated at least a dozen times with co-workers. Details of phone conversations, voicemails, and text messages were released by World Wrestling Entertainment. Around 3:30 Saturday afternoon, Benoit told a co-worker by phone that he overslept and would be late to that night's WWE event in Beaumont, Texas. The co-worker, who the WWE did not name, said Benoit stated, "I love you," and sounded groggy. Minutes later, another phone conversation. Benoit's story changed. Now, he said his wife and son were sick with food poisoning. Around 4:30, another co-worker called Benoit to check in. The wrestler said his wife was throwing up blood, but by this time, authorities say, Nancy Benoit was dead, strangled by her husband some 24 hours earlier. There were 3 more phone calls between Benoit and WWE's Talent Relations Department. The company says a representative told the wrestler to skip the Beaumont event. catch up with the tour in Houston on Sunday. About 9 hours later, just before 4 a.m. on Sunday morning, Benoit sent a series of text messages to the same co-workers he spoke with by phone. 4 of the messages listed only Benoit's home address. A 5th read, "The dogs are in the enclosed pool area. Garage side door is open."
Of a suicide note, or somebody that can say he actually talked to me, that was his voice, and he said he killed his wife and son. So far I would be very suspicious that we don't have another party involved in this crime, and I'm not sure Chris Benoit even committed suicide. I would need, as an investigator, something in his own hand that I could absolutely compare, or something in his own voice, that a voice print could actually be established, because absent of that, an instant messaging or an email could have been written by anybody.
But here's my concern. Number one, why is it we're assuming that he committed suicide? I haven't seen a suicide note. I haven't heard anything about the fact that he had 3 days from the time he killed his wife. Wait a minute. From the time he killed his wife and his son, he had 2 days to write a note or write something. Who is this person who announces on Wikipedia?
He had 3 days from the time he killed his wife. Wait a minute. From the time he killed his wife and his son, he had 2 days to write a note or write something.
You meant to be daddy? You be daddy. Come on, Cookie. Right here, daddy. You want daddy again?
Trying to determine now is what role, if any, did his use of steroids that is, play in the tragedy.
Anytime Chris Benoit went to the ring, he gave it 120%.
Last night, fans saw this hastily produced 3-hour tribute to Chris Benoit on Monday Night Raw.
WWE superstar Chris Benoit, his wife Nancy, and their son Daniel are dead.
But police say the man they praised was a killer.
We're now looking at this case and ruling it as a double homicide, suicide.
What would the WE say on tonight's program?
Listen to how Vince says they're dead.
Trying to determine now is what role, if any, did his use of steroids that is, play in the tragedy.
Anytime Chris Benoit went to the ring, he gave it 120%.
Last night, fans saw this hastily produced 3-hour tribute to Chris Benoit on Monday Night Raw.
WWE superstar Chris Benoit, his wife Nancy, and their son Daniel are dead.
But police say the man they praised was a killer.
Like, if you hear me talk, I'll be like, yeah, my mom's dead. My mom and dad, they're dead. Yeah, they're dead. Like, the way you say it, if it's like your family, or if you're talking about, like, you're trying to disassociate the pain from the reality from the pain, and trying to, like, not let it get to you too much type of a thing. But it's almost like he's saying it in like a, hey, job's done. We did it. Like, they are dead. Bob, Jill, and Jane, they are dead. Sounds like what a hitman would say or something, in my opinion.
We're now looking at this case and ruling it as a double homicide, suicide.
What would the WE say on tonight's program?
There will be no mention of Mr. Benoit's name tonight.
And with that, the show went on as if nothing had happened. But police say what happened in this suburban Atlanta home was much more than just an incident. This is video of Benoit performing in the ring, and this is his wife and their 7-year-old son. Investigators say Benoit tied up his wife Nancy and strangled her to death. Then he suffocated his son Daniel. Sometime later, they say, Benoit hung himself in the basement.
There was a Bible placed at beside the body of each of the victims, and I thought that was somewhat bizarre.
Jimmy.
That's to mock God. Where do y'all see my Bibles at when I do my videos? I always keep my Bibles right by me. For the longest time, I had my black Bible, this black one. I had it in my car. Oh, I forgot. Years ago, I can't remember what it was. Something happened. There was a real bad wreck or something like that. I can't remember. I think it was a wreck or something. And there's some correlation with my Bible being there. I can't remember right now the context, but I know that like basically my Bible kept me safe, more or less. So praise God. But because it wasn't until way after that I had brought it in from out in the car, and I brought it in the house. Not I'm talking about it would have been the black one I had. The brown one I just got from Spanish church after I became a member there. Well, I've always been a member, but it's been like the church I used to live in 30 days. For 30 days it's the 2 minutes down the road on my right, and my other church, I got baptized for a third or fourth time in 2015. It's my church 2 minutes down to the left. So you'll keep seeing the number 3 coming up to mock the Holy Trinity, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Because God is the Father, the creator of all things. He's the Most High. God created the Holy Spirit. Well, okay, let me check something. I'm not that smart, y'all. I'm just trying to simplify it. I'm trying to give people that don't know nothing about the Bible or God or anything. Pray to God. I know it's kind of a silly question, but pretty sure the answer is yes. I just want to double check. What does the Bible say? It says it was not created. Well, they are one eternal. Three and one. Not one and one. So it's the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit all in one. If you want to say like they're all in one circle. If you want to think of it that way, as opposed to God's one circle, Jesus is one circle, and the Holy Spirit's one circle, and then you put them together and they go into the one circle, or they're like the Olympic ring, like circle, circle, circle. It's not like that. They're all in the one circle. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. They're 3 in 1. So to do the Bibles like that is to mock God. As above, so below. Everything that God does is the opposite of the devil, and everything the devil does is the opposite of God. Why? Because he wants to be God. So of course it makes sense that his legion would be doing his bidding. Because I got on my knees. Thank God for waking me up today with breath in my lungs. Another opportunity, another day. Another day to give glory to God. Another day to get closer to God. Get in my word. And loving my baby, who's apparently I'm doing a bad job. Jesus was crucified at 33. Well, okay, well, I thought Jesus was crucified at 33. I'd have to. Not really certain. Okay. Well, the Bible is there is to mock God. It's not to make it seem like, oh, he wanted them to be with the Lord or wanted them to be with the Lord or whatever. It's just ridiculous. When you start seeing stuff like that, with including the God's word and stuff, that's how you know there's some really demonic stuff going on here.
Jimmy Baswell was Chris Benoit's driver.
I just cannot see this. He carried his son on a pedestal. He loved that boy. You can watch any pay-per-view event. Anytime he went a match, he had his son in the ring with him. And I just cannot fathom the idea that he done anything to his family.
Dead 12 hours before law enforcement finds her.
Question for me.
Oh, and think about it, Sean. It says Wikipedia, and where that person sent it from is Stamford, Connecticut, which is the headquarters of WWE. Third thing, why is it that WWE, within 2 seconds of the finding of these three bodies, said, it's not us, it's not us. You know, it's almost as though they protested too much.
Ken, you want to weigh in? Go ahead.
Yeah, the thing about the Wikipedia thing, the person who did that came forward on it. When he didn't show up at the pay-per-view that night.
Yeah, but it doesn't explain it. Don't you think that's a little suspicious? 12 hours before,
But if you'll let me finish, what came out on the thing was the guy was on a message chat board, and they said, hey, Benoit didn't happen, and the guy was just being a smart aleck, went on, and he happened to say something, just stirring the pot, and it turned out to be right.
How many people say something to stir the pot that a woman is dead when in truth she is? I don't believe in coincidences.
I don't believe in coincidences.
You said she was was sick and he didn't show up because she was sick, that's one thing. But to say that she's dead and to be right is
all right. Let me, Kimberly, your thoughts.
Yeah.
That is beyond suspicious.
I think it's very suspicious.
He's a star of WWE with athleticism and ability to spare, but at 40, Chris Benoit is dead. His body and the bodies of his wife and son were found in different rooms at the family home in Georgia.
Women in an office. That was the wife. Mr. Benoit was located in a weight room, and the minor child was located upstairs in a bedroom.
And began sending what fans call curious text messages. Forensic tests are continuing at the home, and post-mortems are being carried out, but police already have a theory.
Right now it's being investigated as a murder-suicide. However, until we get the crime lab reports, it's undetermined exactly what happened.
We make so many sacrifices to while we're on the road. I mean, to get to, a WrestleMania moment or to be able to perform in front of the crowd.
While you're here, why we asked you to come down?
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't you tell me?
All right, Alex.
Okay.
All right.
First, are you a wrestling fan?
Yeah.
Okay. A big one?
Not pretty big.
Okay. Go on.
Okay. Well, over last weekend, the wrestler Benoit, there was rumors going on that he missed the pay-per-view and his scheduled dates, which he never does. And I was reading rumors and speculation online.
Where online?
On forums. I forgot the exact sites. But I was
okay, hold on. On forums?
Yeah.
Okay. In any chat rooms?
No chat rooms. I was just reading about it, and some rumors came up, and I just.
Yeah, what were the rumors?
That his family was sick, or someone maybe died, his wife perhaps, because he missed the pay-per-view.
Okay. And when was that?
Sunday.
Around what time Sunday, roughly?
It was at night, maybe between 10 and 12-ish before the post.
Okay. Where's this computer that you were using?
My laptop. Oh, it's at home.
It's at home. I'm going to ask for a consent for it to search. All right. Okay. It won't hurt the computer. It's just a forensic examination. Because what they really want to do is find out where these rumors started. Okay.
I'm not sure if they're still up or not.
Well, they can, as long as you were in it and you looked at it, they can check. Okay. So, what type of computer do you have?
A Dell Inspiron.
Okay, so you saw these rumors. You're not sure exactly what sites, but it was in forums?
I believe so.
Okay.
Mostly I kind of added fuel to the fire. It was really more of my own speculation.
Okay. What was your speculation?
I just thought that his late wife may have died or
okay. And you speculate on how?
No, I can't. It was wrong. I just cause I saw that he never missed a date.
Okay, but did you speculate on how she died?
No.
No.
Just that she was dead.
Just that she was
dead? Yeah, nothing about murders or anything.
Okay. All right, go on.
Yeah, so, I was just on Wikipedia, and I just...
So, if you are gullible enough to believe this garbage, then I'd recommend whatever stuff you're smoking, start selling it, because you'll be rich overnight. This is literally never happens. Ever. Makes no sense. Other than Vince's Mason brothers were wanting to divert something or have a I don't even know why you would do this, but like a failsafe in case people are like, oh no, we know he didn't do this. Chris loved his family. Obviously, the neighbor guy, what the neighbor guy was thinking was the same thing I was thinking, the same way I was feeling when I heard this. I was like, oh, the brain thing. Yeah, possible. But it almost never happens that any wrestlers, I'm not talking about other sports, any wrestlers do familicide. This don't count, obviously. If you think it does, that's fine. But just like any ex-husband or wife or boyfriend, girlfriend, employer, whatever, everybody should be taken at their word that they are who they say they are until they give you a reason to not think that they are who they say they are. And that's why I stand on principle. I'm a man of principle. I don't move off of that. And a true follower of Christ, a Christian man, that stands on principle. That most importantly is backed up by the Word of God on the solid foundation on the rock of the Word of God. You can't change the Word of God. There ain't no words in God's inspired Word. The book's already been written. You can't rewrite it. So you can only tell the truth or you can only tell a lie. And when you're in your Word and you have discernment and you stand on principle, then you're, I don't know if you're a light bearer, but you're just somebody that the enemy doesn't like because they don't like being exposed. So, when you say, okay, it's the principle that matters, so what's Karn saying about this principle? Why is this so important? Well, if somebody lies to you about one thing, then you have to question, what about the other 100 things that they told me since I've known them? Were they lying about that? Right? So then you say, okay, yeah, that makes sense. So what now? So now you got to reevaluate the context of things and use your discernment. And there's always going to be a good amount more stuff that you're going to come to realize that are problematic and lack explanation. They need answers. And excuse me. So with the media, there's a decent amount of people that are like, okay, this is like the most goofy thing I ever did see. All they're saying is brain damage, make some crazy murder man. Something like that. That's all I said. And like I said, yeah, he loved his family, you know, and yeah.
Me to
I'm gonna skip past that.
Delayed.
It's a waste of time.
Like a lot of people, like on Wikipedia, you know, coordinate what time you get in. Yeah. The whole deal, I'll pick you up or he'll pick me up, whatever. So, I call him, no answer. Then all of a sudden I get a call from him. And he's like, oh, call right back. Hey, Chavo, hey, what's up, man? He sounds just off. I'm like, man, you okay? He's like, yeah, I'm cool, man. Just really bad. A really, really just bad weekend. I just, you know, Daniel and Nancy are sick, his wife, you know, and, you know. So you're actually talking to him at this point? I'm talking to him, yeah. And he said, this is basically after he's probably killed his wife. Yes. They're sick, you know, they're not feeling good. And I'm like, all right, cool. And, well, you coming in? Yeah, I missed my flight, but don't worry, I'm gonna catch another flight and I'll be there. Okay, but just call me when you get in and I'll pick you up, you know, no matter what time it is. You know, we were landing in Houston, I had to drive to Belmont, and I was like, you know, don't worry about it. We're late. I'll wait for you. Okay. So he gets off getting ready to get off the phone, and he goes, he makes a point with this. He stops. He goes, Chavo. I go, yeah. And he goes, I love you. I said, I love you too, man. It wasn't too off kilter, because we always tell each other we love each other. Yeah. But this was really forced. It was not forced. It was really like made a point of it. It was like, hey man, okay, I love you, brother. Okay, no, it was like, Chavo, I love you. I want you to understand this. Basically, yeah, if you don't forget this. Coming from a man with very few words. Yeah. I was like, all right, I love you too, bro. So I hung up, and I thought, that was strange. So I called him right back. And I go, hey man, are you all right? I'm fine, man. Like I said, I just had a real hard weekend, you know, and just, you know, real hard weekend. And I had to go take, you know, Daniel and Nancy to the hospital. And I'm like, oh, okay, man. Well, I'm here. Okay, man. Okay, cool. So then hung up. And that was the last I actually talked to him. I guess he called Scott Armstrong too. And he and I hooked up. We hooked up and we ended up driving. Waiting for Chris, no call. I'm calling, hey dude, did you miss your flight? Did you make your new flight? No call, no answer. Okay, well I guess we gotta drive. Well, if we gotta come back, you know, we said if we gotta come back and go pick him up, we will. So we went to the show, and you know the agents were asking, where's Chris? This is a house show. House show. Where's Chris? Next day was a pay-per-view, yeah, in Houston. Well, I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know. This is flying. You know, he's gonna. Okay. So we drive to Houston. The next day, me and Scotty, and still no word. Still no from Chris. We're calling him, nothing. I get texts on my phone at probably 5 a.m. and I get a text from Chris saying, "Wake up in the morning." You've got not even before it woke me up. Before 5 in the morning. So I look at the my text and I'm like, "That's weird." It says the dogs are in the enclosed pool area. The garage door is open. I looked at it. I was like, well, "That's weird." It's one of those texts you get. You know, sometimes you get texts, from 3 days ago. You never get text, from 3 days ago. You never delivered, and then all of a sudden you got a text. And this is kind of the start of texting. You know, now it's a little different. But back then, 2007. A lot of times, you know, texts didn't come through and they got lost, and all of a sudden you got them. And I was like, well, that's get half a text. Half a text, yeah, that was weird. So okay, I wrote it off. Then I get another text from Nancy's phone, from his wife's phone, and it said the same thing. You know, the same text. That's really weird. No.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Last night on Monday Night Raw, the WWE presented a special tribute show, recognizing the career of Chris Benoit. However, now some 26 hours later, the facts of this horrific tragedy are now apparent. Therefore, other than my comments, there will be no mention of Mr. Benoit's name tonight.
See, Chris trained in Japan, and I made 3 trips over there with him. The first trip he was green. I guess they were training you or whatever. And then the next trips I was over there, he was over there. He was already over there. Oh, man, what a talent! What a talent! Good gravy. He was accused of killing woman and his son. My opinion, I will give you my opinion of Chris Benoit. That was his son. With woman, see, I was with woman when woman was with Kevin Sullivan in Florida. Kevin Sullivan broke woman in a business in Florida, in the Florida territory. I know woman. Okay, let me just because I do not believe for 1 iota that Chris Benoit killed his son and killed a woman. I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. I believe that maybe Chris Benoit found them, and because his son was dead and he done himself, he committed suicide. It's just so hard. It's so hard for me to comprehend Chris doing anything like that. Men say that it just don't make no sense. It don't make no sense other than he's seen them, he found them, and I don't know what were they. What? Get your kid, man. Why was your kid involved in it? That's why
Something that's occurred to me. I had my dad was an extremely violent type to where no warning or provocation or nothing, and he could just start going crazy. But at the same time, my dad really did love me and my mom. More than life itself type of thing. But from a documentation standpoint, I don't think there's a singular Mortal Kombat type thing with him and against his family, against Nancy and Daniel at all. So that's proof right there. We're not going by hearsay, we're going by facts. He wasn't, he had zero propensity of violence against his family. All the other brain beat up wrestlers and entertainers, divas, all that, they don't do it. They don't take out everybody out just because their head hurts too bad one day and they snap because somebody said something or something triggered them. Like if something triggered if all of my triggers got hit at one time, and I completely lost my mind, like right now. Worst case scenario, I could tear the house up and just destroy everything. I mean, I wouldn't. I don't. That's not how I am. I'm a type of bipolar person, mental health patient that internalizes everything. And then people wonder why when people say stupid stuff like, "Oh, you don't look like you're having a bad day," or you look just fine. There ain't nothing wrong with you. And then they wonder why people go postal. Because you don't know who the fuck you're talking to. Shut the fuck up. Ignorant. You need to watch what you're saying to people for real, because you don't know who you're talking to, what they've been through, or what they're going through, or if they even took their medication that day. You have no idea. You're playing ignorant talking roulette, and you play that game, you might get up win a prize that you don't want to win. But anyway, but my point is, like with my dad, if my dad was gonna kill me and my mom per se, they're both my parents are dead now. But if he were to do that, there's usually almost always a build up over time, usually over some months, at least like 6 months, and then it gets to a point to where, okay, I got a call from blah blah blah. They said they're gonna do this, they got that. Then they'll be like, okay, we got a call from the the mom and the kids, and they're afraid, and he's here, and there's a chronological order of events that build up to these things. It's not just like, oh, you know, like on Monday, my mom's death bothered me. Tuesday is my dad's death. Wednesday it's my grandma's death. Friday it's my grandpa's, and then Saturday it's my health, and then Sunday it's the spiritual warfare. Or no, well, yeah, and then so like whatever the following day would be, like the 6th or 7th day, whatever I said. Sorry, I get a little sleepy. I need to lay down again. I'm really sick right now. I apologize, but I want to make this video. Let's say there's a period of those 6 days where these things are building up, and on the 7th day I snap and I tear the house up. That's how these things happen. These things don't just happen haphazardly. Because there's usually almost always the people that are in the near vicinity that are interviewed they're like, oh no, I don't know what's going on, this ain't right, this is weird, like something ain't right about this. And we've had those people come up. But really ask yourself this, if you're reevaluating this, if you had an opinion back in the day, because even I myself got caught up in the lie about, oh, this and this and this and this. It's over and over again from what WWE was saying and Vince McMahon was saying. And it's even made me fall victim to the brainwashing and the lies. But would you really take the word of Diddy or Vince McMahon? Or do you take the word of the people? So, because we've been taking their word for decades, and look how far that got us. Look what the result of that was. Just demonic, devilish abuse against people, innocent people. And like the guy said, like I said, what did the little boy have to do with it? He ain't had nothing to do with it, but they still killed him. People get so focused on the familiar side part that I think a lot of people forget that Daniel was just a little baby, man. That's like demonic. That's straight demonic. To hurt a child, to hurt an innocent child like that. That can only be Lucifer. Because he wants to destroy God's creation. And so yeah. Let me see what the top comment is. Yeah, there's just a lot of comments that you can see. Yeah, like walking into the house and the corpses, yeah, like my mom died, my mom was there on the ground for a while without the sheet on her, then they put the sheet on her, then I laid on her as long as I could, and then eventually they took her. And they let you can be present if you're at, like I was in the house. So I mean if you're in the house when somebody dies, you can be present for a period of time. But at a certain point, they're literally going to remove everything and everybody that's not the coroner and the police and forensics and everything. And from that point on, you're not allowed there. So the fact that that lady just straight up was like in there willy nilly, this, that, and the third, and all these other things, um, that's all to just um, whatever they're trying to hide or double check or whatever. Um, but in every single one of these circumstances, there's always weird stuff going on. And if there's one weird thing going on, then there's multiple things going on. So if you're a person that's like, oh, well, he's 100% guilty, well, prove that then. Where's the suicide note? I don't believe there is one. Where's a text, or where's a letter? Where's a phone call? Where's a first person account of anybody saying, oh, yeah, I feel like I'm about to lose my mind. Like if I say, oh, I feel like I'm about to lose my mind, I just want to give up, and then I do something to myself, that's a good indicator. That's a pretty good uh, surmise, a pretty good answer of what happened. As opposed to me saying, oh, I feel so tired, I just want to, I feel like my body's going to give up on me. I want to give up because I'm so sick, but I'm just going to lay down. And I'll feel better when I wake up. Two completely different things. Two completely different things. So, which, yeah. That's like if I have a girlfriend and I come home and then she's like, you slept with 10 girls while you was out doing DoorDash, right? It's like, okay, you made the claim I slept with 10 girls, but where's the proof I slept with 10 girls? Where's 10 pregnancy tests or STD tests or text messages or pictures or videos or whatever? Like, I mean, hypothetical. But where's 10 instances of everything that you're saying I did? Where's the proof? You can't just say something and not have proof. And I'm talking about chronological proof. I'm not talking about like, oh, you just. I'm not talking about what they say on the news. I'm talking about where. Show me from the beginning, step by step, how I just told you, how these things build up over time. In real life, that happens in a real life situation. Familiar side builds up over time. Either not being able to take on the burden of taking care of somebody that's sick or whatever, builds up, and then you just like get rid of them because you can't deal with it anymore. Or the opposite is if you're getting abused, you only take the abuse for so long and then you snap. And I know that because I've been in a situation with both of my parents. And it's been a life and death situation our whole lives with all three of us on a daily basis. So I know firsthand experience how these things build up. So if I would have done something to my dad to protect my mom, I can tell you how it build up over years. If my mom did something to my dad, same thing. Or if my dad did something to my mom, same thing. These things just don't happen out of the blue. And based on the principle that he never had any police call to the house, or she got like beat up or whatever, hurting Daniel or nothing like that. That alone right there is, a lot of y'all ain't looking at the character and the context 100%. So if you look at on the left side, you say, okay, this is the case that he didn't do it, that they were taken out, which they were. That's my opinion. You start to see, okay, no reports about police being called, no aggressive behavior, no blah blah blah. Always showed up to work, never missed a show. That's a big thing. That's a principle. It's man a principle. It's like, oh, you're an hour early. It's not about being an hour early. It's about the principle of not being late. And versus everything else where they have no proof of anything other than what people have told you, but you're just being ignorant and you're not being an investigator. Be your own investigator. You're not using your brain. If you look at anything one time that upon seeing it you might have any reason to question one thing, which you almost always should, and you just say, oh, okay, yeah, that's true, then you're totally ignorant. You forget that you have a brain, literally, which is ironic. We all do it. I'm not being funny, I'm being serious. So if you're in a habit of just looking at something, it's like watching a TikTok video and it says that there's a lobster creature flying in the air, and you know it most likely is fake, but just because you see it, you're like, oh yeah, that's really cool. It's a UFO or something. So now you done got caught up believing something because you took half a second to look at something and agree with the rest of the world that it's real, when in fact it isn't. So now every time someone tries to mention to you that something doesn't look right with something, you're like, oh no. So ironically, you're the one that is believing the lie, and the person that knows the truth is trying to wake you up, and you're just asleep. So wake up, people. Wake up.